we're back. So we left it off as, if you have these vibrations going on, you will experience the same kind of mirroring vibration. That's what mirroring truly is. When somebody gets into a situation and they say, why am I experiencing this? And somebody says, well, because they're mirroring to you what your vibrations are. That usually never made sense to me until I started seeing it in this fashion. Because really what it is you have a vibration in you that says, I don't value myself enough, or I don't feel I'm worthy of something. So somebody comes into your experience to show you they don't think you're worthy, or they don't value you. It's not that that person really exists, it's that that vibration you have going on is matching up with the situation in your experience for you to say, wait a minute, I don't choose that. I see what's going on. I choose to release that distortion. Now, distortion release, as we were saying earlier, you are pure source. It's this nice, pretty vibration. You have other distortions going on, which are a little more crazy looking. As you recognize them, all you have to do is say, I recognize that. It's not love. I choose to release it. And you can imagine that the angels or God or whoever you're working with or talking to is taking care of the rest. You just have to make the choice and make that decision that you recognize it and you want it gone. You want that to transmute out to love, which it truly is. And that experience then will stop appearing in that vibration will stop appearing in your experience. Now the problem is that a lot of these are onion layers now, because you've been experiencing these things so much and it's just tweaked a little different in every scenario. Maybe in one case it's my mother that doesn't think I'm worthy. Maybe it's my boss that doesn't think it. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. All of these create continued distortions that are slightly different, and you have to start peeling the distortions out. So you do the best thing for yourself every day by living through your experiences and seeing, if that is not love, right, I choose to release it. And as you make these choices, these distortions start to get pulled out. You may actually feel the distortion as it leaves. It may be sadness, it may be anger, it may be whatever. Where people screw up is they don't allow themselves to feel things and they push it back down. Oh, I don't want to feel that. Well, all you're doing is you're pushing that distortion back down into your frequency field, vibrational field, and allowing it to stay. So as you allow yourself to feel whatever it feels like, let it leave. You know that as you're feeling it, remember, because that feeling it is your brain interpreting that distortion. As you're feeling it, it's actually allowed to go. What's so funny?
Continue.
Apparently I need a different videographer, because this one likes to laugh at things and get me off track. Anyway, so that's the releasing of distortions. Now, harmonics come in. What is so funny?
Continue.
Ah, jeez. All right, so harmonics come in, and this is the whole empath thing, right? You've got your frequency field again, your 88 to 107 FM dial. You may be here. Somebody may come into your experience that's lower than you are. They're here. All right, so what happens is you aren't on the same level as each other frequency-wise. So this person, right, and you end up with what's called dissonance between you. The dissonance feels yucky, all right? What most people do is they'll say, oh, I get around that person, I don't really feel good around them. I need to protect myself. I need to protect my energy, whatever the hell that is. And they will actually, in I need to protect myself, drop down, further down that frequency scale, because they've become victims. When you're in victim energy, you're way down here in the 88 less range. So what you've actually done is you've dropped yourself lower than this one, and this one essentially wins. So when you talk about harmonics with frequencies, this one, right, and this one, we're going to say they're dissonant, they're not harmonic right now. Either this one has to stay stable, which this one would have to come up to be harmonic, or this one will have to go away. Mostly though, you are so worried, because those are distortions in you, you are so worried about what the other one thinks, instead of staying stable, you will choose to drop down to below or at their level instead. So where you might have had a higher frequency scale, say you were up here at like 100, and they're down here at like 90, I'm so worried about what they think and what they feel, and I don't like that. Oh my gosh, you just drop down lower than they are. Okay, so that's what empathy is. People who are empaths are like, I feel so bad when I get around this person, or I feel so good when I get around this person. What's going on is, I feel so good, you are coming up to that person's level because they can stay stable. I feel so bad when I'm around that person. You are dropping yourself because you are too worried about them and not keeping your own stability. So, I'll use an Eamon and I example. Eamon and I go out to dinner sometimes, and we'll be in the restaurant, and people will come around Eamon because Eamon has a very high frequency. All right, so if you consider us and the way we work, all right, voltage plus current, all right, voltage times current, that's your essential energy flow. Eamon is very high voltage. He's a very high frequency level. I am very high current. I'm a very high stability level. So what happens is people will get around Eamon, who is very high, right? He's up here. They will come in, they'll be very low or whatever they are. They'll feel him and it feels really, really good. They'll get closer and closer to him physically because they want to be closer and closer into his energy field. They don't know what they're doing, they just know, oh, that feels really nice, I like that, because it does bring them up. The problem is they don't stay there because as soon as they move away, they're not stable because their own distortions kick back in. When they're around him, their distortions that they have, they're not feeling as much because they feel him more. Now, his problem though is these low vibrations come around him because they're lower frequency, and he starts feeling kind of icky because the dissonance between them. All right, so what he's got to do, and this is what most empaths have to do, is instead of saying, I feel this and it feels yucky, because then he starts to drop down, is no, you go higher. So what you're actually doing is you're acting as a tuning fork, and all empaths, I'll just say, are tuning forks, and most of them don't have any idea that's what's going on. You are essentially shaking the distortions out of these people as they come up, because they have to shake the distortions out to come up to be able to stay there. So what you do so they don't bring you down, because these distortions are coming out now in the entire field, because there is only one energy field. As these distortions are coming out in the energy field and you're feeling it and you're kind of like, right? I'm going to imagine my radio dial, right, my 88 to 107, and I'm going to freaking crank it up. I'm going to imagine in my head, I'm going to visualize that radio dial going higher and higher and higher, and you're going to raise yourself higher. Now what's going to happen as these people are trying to get close to you, as you see it and start raising yourself higher, because you can't go into a mode of trying to push them away, because what you're doing with pushing them away is going into protection mode, which is actually dropping you down into here. All right, and that's where everybody screws up. So instead, you go higher, they have to shed the junk, the distortions, they have to feel it usually to do that. Most of them cannot take it because they don't know what's going on, and they will, it's funny, they'll start to cough, they'll start to hack. That's the distortions leaving. They'll start to feel the distortions, they'll start to feel the ick, and they'll usually choose instead to move away because they can't handle it. So really, what you're doing is you're forcing harmonics to work in your favor because you chose to stay solid and stable. They, on the other hand, can either do the same. Hey, I really like being around Eamon, and I understand that these are the distortions I'm feeling. So you know what? I'm going to get around him and say, I choose to release whatever this is I'm feeling and let it go. So that is how you are able to go around someone like Eamon, feel good, make the choice that when stuff starts feeling like ick, you're going to let it go. You're going to release the resistance to letting it go because it's your ego distortions that are trying to hold on to this junk. And then say, sweet, I'm good, I like being around. Now, Eamon and I together, right? Eamon is high, I am high and stable. It's almost like a more that kind of version.
Close enough.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, you got what I'm talking about. So this is Eamon, this is me. So what happens is you end up with the super high voltage along with the current amplification, the amperage, and we together will blast the hell out of people.
All the time.
Essentially. When you are around me by myself, you will feel this, but it won't feel as high as Eamon. What we'll actually do is magnify or amplify your own energy field that you've got going on. So if you are already high and you're feeling me, you'll feel even higher. If you are wherever with distortions, your distortions will amp up and you'll have a great opportunity to shed them if you choose so. Most people do not understand the shedding them. They instead hold on to them because they feel comfortable in that. It's like the poopy diaper that's nice and warm, right? I'm in my poopy diaper, it's nice and warm. I don't really know what it's like to not have a poopy diaper on, so I'll just stay here where I am. So that is empathy in a harmonic sense.